ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Local then, local now. Member FDIC.
It is Thursday, November 14th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. You can, of course, be a part of the program at any time by calling the Miller Lite phone lines at 877-420-TALK. That is 877-420-8255. Miller Lite Hold True, great taste, only 96 calories. It is the original light beer. And, we're going to be a little somber today. Just a little bit on the program, as today is the day that the plane tragedy happened. So we'll open the phone lines up for you. Again, those numbers, 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. No guests today. Nobody to come on and tell their story. We don't have really anybody we could bring on today on the program to do that with you. So instead, it's going to open the phone lines up for you, give you an opportunity to talk about your experiences. If you were at the ceremony today, you can share a little bit about that with us today. So the floor will be yours, and just keep in mind, keep it short, keep it brief if you can, but we will give you plenty of time to express yourself on this day. And, of course, we got some other things to get into as well, as it's a day before Marshall plays Louisiana Tech. And I will tell you this, I am aware of the rumors, but I have not had confirmation. Anything official has come out, but there is rumor going around, and a couple of other outlets, especially in social media, including Vegas, where that's their business, their job. They keep an eye on odds and betting. Apparently, there might be some suspensions coming, including quarterback Jamar Smith. Again, this is all rumor and speculation right now. I don't have anything concrete, but I do present it to you as is, as rumor and speculation, until there is something that is more official. So keep that in mind, though, as betting line changes. Lines do change for whatever reason. Sometimes Vegas gets tips before everybody else. And it seems that the Vegas odds makers have got a tip that there could be some suspensions coming down. Take it with a grain of salt until it is official, but it is reminiscent of the game several years ago when Marshall played Louisiana Tech, where you had some players not available for Louisiana Tech. So we've got that. We've got, of course, lots of action. Tomorrow, busy day, not just for Marshall football, but for soccer, as the Thundering Herd will take on the 4-seed Kentucky. We'll talk about that. We've got Marshall's basketball loss. The women went to Athens, lost yesterday, so we'll talk about that. And coming up in about an hour, we've got Marshall volleyball. They will be at the Cam Anderson Center for their regular season finale, and it's senior day. They're taking on UAB. So we've got all of those topics to get into and more. And again, the phone lines, I do open up for you at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255 on the Miller Lite phone lines. And it's a somber day. It really is. I talked to Steve Chapman earlier, a friend of mine. He, of course, for many years has been instrumental in sometimes bringing me people who have a story to tell about this day, about these events. And I've been truly blessed to have his friendship and him being somebody that could open up an opportunity for me at the same time, present somebody an opportunity to tell their story. And so I was talking to him today, and there were some again, this is what fascinates me the most. And I don't think Steve will mind me talking about this. I'm going to keep everything pretty basic here. But, there were some folks who were there for the first time. Again, the ceremony, for whatever reason, there are people who have never been and then one day decide they're going to go. And there are people who have never been and they'll probably never go because it just haunts them or whatever the reasons may be. So it was interesting. There were maybe some news stories that hopefully we'll hear in the next few years from this event. And I remember a few years ago, on this very program, we had it out with an individual who said that this thing should go away. And whatever your feelings are, for a lot of people, this is an opportunity once a year to reconnect with people, to express themselves, to whatever their emotions may be, to process it. So it's an interesting ceremony, to say the least, for some who maybe see it as, well, it's been 49 years. And then there are others who it's still fresh in their mind. So I remember that vividly, having that conversation, because I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't have any right to tell anybody how you deal with your grief. 304-399-8255. Toll free is 877-420-8255. We've got Chuck checking in from which Carolina? All I see on my board is Carolina. But, Chuck, you are on the drive.
Hey, Paul. It's North Carolina. How you guys doing today?
We're good. Good. Thanks for checking in.
Good. Yeah, hey, I just thought I'd call and share a couple memories and a couple questions. My grandparents lived in Huntington, or still live in Huntington. My grandfather lived where the track used to be, and, of course, now is where the rec center is. And he is 89, about to be 90. And him and my grandmother have never missed a ceremony every year. I mean, they just go to it, and it means so much to them. They lost friends. My mom, the kids she went to school with at the time, lost both parents. But, you hear those stories all the time. But it means a lot. And, not just to Huntington, but sometimes I think maybe the state of West Virginia kind of overlooks it. But, Huntington is part of West Virginia. I mean, it should mean a lot to West Virginia as well. A couple things I want to talk about, too. The line. I'm glad you brought that up because I was watching all week. I think it started at like 2.5. Is that right?
That sounds about right, just looking at it. It's fluctuated a little bit.
I just looked. It's like 5.5 now, and I wondered all week. I kept saying, it went up to 3, and then I think 4 was last night. I kept wondering, I'm like, why does it keep going up? So interesting to kind of see where that comes from. Couple other things. Did you see the letter that Doc Holliday put out? Was it yesterday to the students?
I saw a little bit of that also yesterday. The other day, listening to the coach show, and he really gets emotional about that. And then, of course, if you heard the ceremony today, he got really emotional about it as well. He truly, this is something that, you think of him as a stoic coach, and then the emotions just pour out.
Yeah, I got to watch it today, and like you say, I mean, he definitely takes it to heart, and in his letter that he saw too, and it's something we've talked about before, and I don't want to really go to this today, but he really was encouraging the students, and we've always talked about the student support, and I hope they listen. Like there needs to be a big crowd there tomorrow. I'm leaving first thing in the morning, and driving in, so. I hope a lot of people will brave the weather. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful night. It's going to be cold, but, I mean, no rain, nothing like that. So everybody who can come, come out. And especially if you're a student, you can handle that stuff. Get out there. Have fun.
It's football weather. I'll be
football.
out there tomorrow on the stage over on the West Lot, and I'm going to have a nice coat. I'm going to have a toboggan, and I might wear the toboggan the entire day and wear it in the press box as well because, well, it's going to be cold, but that's okay. It's football weather. It's November. It's supposed to be cold, unless you're in Florida.
One more thing, and then I'll hang up. Is that Steve Chapman from Logan, Melanie Chapman's dad?
No. It's Steve Chapman, not that I know of, related to Melanie Chapman. If he is, I've never known that factoid, but I don't think so. This Steve Chapman's been involved with broadcasting, public television. You see him work the video crews.
Not the same person. No.
Okay, yeah. No, Steve is Steve years ago introduced me to the Lattermans, and he is I don't know how he does it, but he has this unreal talent or just ability to talk to people and find out things. I mean, he'll see people that, hey, I've never seen this person here, and he will discover things about them. I mean, he's not just going around, hey, are you new? Hey, are you new? I mean, he's actually just, being introduced to people or just running into people. And he's unearthing all the time new stories that we've never heard in relation to the events surrounding the ceremony or the plane crash itself. I mean, I would encourage him to put these things down to paper one day and write a book. That's how good he is.
That's awesome. Real quick, and I'll hang up. What's your prediction?
I'm going to have to wait to see what the news is, if the suspensions are true. If that's the case, I think Marshall's going to definitely keep them to a lower score. I like Marshall in this game. I like Marshall in this game a lot because this is a unique situation in which if Alabama was on this football field tomorrow against the Thundering Herd, I would like Marshall's chances. It's just Doc has put in their minds the importance of what this game means, not just for football standings, not just for 1-0, all the usual stuff, but the fact that the community really feeds off this game, and it's important to these players. And we're talking to these players earlier this week. I mean, I flat out asked them, hey, this happened before you were even born. Why does this touch your heart? Why is this something that's important to you? And these guys are talking like, hey, they're like my teammates. And Isaiah Green even talked about, hey, it feels like there's someone out there. When we're on the field, it's like we got a 12th man out there. It really feels like there's somebody else on the field with us. So these kids have the utmost respect for what happened. They know about it. Their ears perk up if you mention somebody from the 1970 team. It's not, hey, these are the 75 and they don't know the names. I mean, they really are invested. So I like Marshall's chances. I'm going to say 2 touchdowns, just to be safe.
I agree with you, and go Herd. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you there. That's Chuck checking in from North Carolina. He's going to be making his way up, and we'll open the phone lines up for you. 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. I'm Paul Swann. You're listening to The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank.
877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255 to be a part of the Miller Lite phone lines. Miller Lite, hold true, great taste. Only 96 calories. It is the original light beer. We do invite you to be a part of the program on this Thursday, November 14th edition. We got other things to talk about today, and let's go first and foremost with what's happening at the Cam Henderson Center. Marshall volleyball team going to be in action tonight, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. It's senior day, so the Thundering Herd. Hey, you see what they've done in volleyball? Got a new coach comes in, and already brings in a lot of energy and excitement, puts this team in a position to compete. And they've got an overall record of 17-9. They're 8-5 in Conference USA. And so they're going to the tournament. That's one thing you ask for, is get the team into the tournament, be able to compete. And if you haven't yet checked out Marshall Volleyball, you got an opportunity again coming up tonight, 6 o'clock. Marshall taking on UAB team that is 12-13. They're 4-8 in conference. Marshall has been on a streak as of late. They have won their last 5 matches. They had a 5-match losing streak, and then they have bounced back to win their last 5 matches. They go down to Florida. They come with 2 5-set wins against FIU and FAU. How about that? Then you've got redshirt junior Sierra DeBell, Conference USA Co-Offensive Player of the Week. She had 27 kills against FIU and 20 more against FAU. She's got 393 kills this season, 900 in her career. How about that? I don't think we talk enough about volleyball. Yeah, we've had Coach Agnes on, and every time I have her on, she is a treat to be with and to talk to. But I don't think we talk enough about volleyball. Still, I mean, look at what they've done. I mean, that's an outstanding season, to be fair. So hats off to her and what she's done with the program so far. And, again, that's coming up tonight, 6 o'clock. And if you can't make it, of course, I'll tell you what you can do. If you can't make it, I'm checking to see right now if it's going to be over on the campus. Yeah, it is. Okay. Campus radio station's got it tonight, 88.1 FM WMUL. I am in good standing alum of the program. Also, it'll be streamed online at marshall.edu /WMUL. Okay, got to give the kids some credit sometimes. I got to look out for them. I got to look out for the kids. So that's what's happening tonight. And, of course, I encourage you to go to that one. But if you can't, you can listen to it over in the student radio station. By the way, they once again did a pretty good job of the ceremony today. Now, Marshall's video streaming it. Of course, for a lot of people, Marshall's video streaming it. But for the campus radio station, every year you get kids who are new to the program, or you get kids who are a couple years into the program, broadcasting this event, talking about it, trying to understand the event. So again, kudos to the kids over at the student radio station. And so they get their shout out. I haven't done that in a while, and hopefully that will improve my goodie bag over at WMUL when I see Dr. Bailey next. Did you know that, Gabriel? I get a goodie bag every year. Sort of. I kind of get a goodie bag. I expect I'll get a goodie bag. It's probably the goodie bag is the bag. But I'm kind of hoping for an upgrade this year, Gabriel. I'm hoping I get like a goodie bag with pens. I'm hoping to get one of those really nice bags. They get some really nice swag over there at the campus radio station. I don't know how he manages it, but he comes up with something new every year. So that's what I'm looking forward to. You should come with me, Gabriel. And get you a goodie bag as well. Since Gabriel here is not going into broadcasting, instead he is living it. And we're taking your phone calls at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. So Marshall volleyball in action tonight at 6. The Herd women losing to Ohio on the road, 67-51. Khadijah Brooks had 13. She led the Herd. She also had 6 rebounds. So Marshall now 2-1. The Bobcats improved to 2-1. I'll say this. Ohio, 67 points scoring against the Herd. I'm with Coach Kemper. I'll take that. I'll take that any day. That's a pretty good defensive effort. Just got to get the offense going. You really have to get the offense going, But, again, you're playing in Athens. You're playing against Ohio. That's a good team no matter what the records are, but they're 2-1 now. Savannah Wheeler had 9 points, also had 3 steals. Taylor Pearson, she had 6 rebounds. Thundering Herd, I think second quarter is probably what got them. Bobcats went on a nice little run on them, 7-0. And then really, after they go on a big run, Marshall starts to rally. I think that was maybe beginning of the end. I don't know. Thundering Herd back in action. Guess what? That's the great thing about basketball. The team can rebound. They will be back at the Cam Anderson Center, back-to-back home games. Coppin State on November 19th will tip off at 11 a.m., and then Morgan State will be in Henderson Center on the 21st with a 5 p.m. tip. So that's what we've got looking ahead to Marshall women's basketball. All right, our phone number is 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. As I mentioned earlier, it is November 14th. So I don't have any guests today. I don't have anybody to tell me their story. We're not fortunate in that regard this year because we try to discover people. We try to find people who maybe are coming for the first time or coming in a long time, haven't come. Wasn't the case for us this year, but I've got you. So I'm going to depend on you at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. If you were at the ceremony today, just what it mean to you. or if you missed the ceremony today and you listen to it, you watch the video stream again, what it mean to you? Or what does this weekend mean to you? Why is it important to you? So I'm going to open the phone lines up for you. I'm putting you basically in charge of this thing, so don't let me down. 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. More on the way. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
The Drive with Paul Swann. Marshall Athletic Director Mike Hamrick. He knows.
Paul's the best.
On ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Tomorrow's a big day. Not only is it Marshall football against Louisiana Tech, you've got Marshall basketball taking on Notre Dame, and you've got Marshall soccer. Not only Marshall soccer, but the top overall seed in Conference USA and 13th ranked Marshall soccer. They are in the semifinal round after they get their first round bye. They're going to take on the number 4 seed and the 15th ranked Kentucky Wildcats in the Conference USA tournament. This is going to take place at 4:30 p.m. on Friday. So we're going to be on the air with our football pregame coverage at 4. So when we go off the air, we'll still hopefully have enough soccer for us to go watch. It's going to be broadcast, guess what, ESPN Plus. My guy, great guy, Jake Griffith, on the call. So you can watch the game on ESPN Plus. I'm going to tell you what, we're probably going to have I'm going to be watching it. While I'm doing the pregame tomorrow, I'm going to have just an iPad right there at the table. I'm just going to watch it. I'll get you a score updates. We'll update you. Or, of course, you can listen to our pregame and then watch it yourself before the start of the football game, whatever the case may be. But this is going to be a big game. Can you imagine? Marshall, already your regular season champion. If they could get through Kentucky again, they can get to the championship game, win. They will be the tournament champion, and a Conference USA opportunity here for Thundering Herd we thought a few years ago would never happen in soccer has now happened. And, hey, I'm going to get him set up. My guy's here, Woody Woodrum. My guy. Let's get him set up here. Hey, man, I'm surprised you were here today. I'm glad to see you. Let's get you in here. Let's get this all set up. We're doing this live, by the way. You know what? Like we used to? Yeah.
This is a lot like we used to.
Yeah, let's just get all this squared away. Hey, man.
Hey, I was just listening to you down the hall there, and so I thought I'd stick my head in because I knew we didn't get a chance to talk tomorrow about any of the high school games. And
let's do that.
We've got a good one tomorrow.
We do have a good one tomorrow.
Yeah. So not on our station, though. That's the weird thing for people.
You can blame Dan D'Antoni for that.
Yes.
How dare he schedule a basketball game on a high school football Friday night? How dare him?
You know, I did like that he said, I can knock this off the bucket list today in the paper.
Notre Dame?
Yeah. I mean, playing in Notre Dame is pretty – I hope I live long enough, and that's only 3 years. But I hope I make it so that I can go to the Notre Dame game because I've been to the stadium. I've been down in the locker room before it was renovated. And I've touched the sign, play like a champion today, you know. Seen Touchdown Jesus down there in the end zone. You can only see him from the press box now because they put the scoreboard and stuff on the end.
I mean, how dare they?
Yeah, but it's a beautiful campus. If you don't even go to the game, if you just went to South Bend and spent the day, it would be worth it to walk their campus because you can go down the grotto, you can go under the Golden Dome at the chapel is unbelievable. I mean, it's like the Sistine Chapel in South Bend, Indiana.
Well, yeah, it's precious ground.
And everything, Paul, everything is in somebody's name. If you sit on a bench, that'll be from Paul Swann, class of 42, Notre Dame. If you sit under a tree, that tree will have a tag on it say this tree was planted by Woody Woodrum, class of 44, Notre Dame. Everything there, every building, every sign, everything but the chapel pretty much someone has sponsored it.
I'm going to sponsor something.
It's amazing.
By the way, management doesn't, well, they should know this, that they have been paying attention to the program. If they don't, I'm going to that game. I don't care how I get there. If I have to take a bus, if I have to walk, if I have to sneak in your trunk, if I have to push Bill Cornwell off the plane and take his spot, I'm doing it.
It's not a bad ride. South Bend's about 6.5, 7 hours.
I can do that.
Yeah, it's not bad, and I hope that it's a later Saturday game. So if I have a high school game, maybe I can go with somebody and we can leave right after that. I haven't done that in a long time. Those are tough trips, but I've done it to Virginia Tech and Morgantown, a couple other places.
I'm thinking we're taking a station vehicle.
Yeah,
let's do it.
We need a RV, maybe even.
We can do that.
We'll get the press pass for an RV.
Let's do that. Yeah. Hey, this is the Kindred Communications RV.
Yeah, that's the Kindred RV.
Yeah, but you guys
I've had good and bad luck with Kindred RVs.
Yeah,
by the way.
we don't want a Kindred RV.
Yeah.
Unless I can guarantee it's state of the art, pristine. That would be great. Why can't we get that? We can have like an RV to do our pre-games everywhere.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, we could do our RV pre-game show in the RV. By the way,
yes,
we'd have the windows open so people could see us.
Yeah, we could set in the end zone down at Huntington High game.
Yeah, let's do that.
Nice, but
I love spending the company's money.
But it is November 14th, and this is one of the years I didn't go to the memorial because I've been having some trouble with my back and leg, and with the weather, I just thought I had to go up to Huntington High and talk to them today. I want to make sure I got that done for the game tomorrow. But so solemn, and I was real excited about the speaker. Somebody new. The Ralstons lost both their parents, and he became a doctor just like his dad. What a great story. And, I heard your first guest as I was coming in talking about his grandparents had never missed.
Right.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's,
Now, Paul, it runs in my mind. I know they had a ceremony when they put the fountain in like 72. But I don't remember there being a ceremony in the 70s. I don't remember from 75 until 80 was 10 years. And the 80 ceremony was actually at the Fifth Avenue Baptist Church. And the football team went to that, and those guys were so broke up. I forget who we played next day, Furman or somebody just killed us because they just couldn't rally back from it. It was so hard to deal with. I mean, those guys lived in Hodges and South Hall, and just like us. And they were just like us. And like, oh, my God, it could happen to anybody. Maybe other people remember a ceremony.
I don't,
but I don't in the 70s.
Yeah, because I'm younger than you, and I don't remember as a child.
I mean, I was on campus, and from 75 on till 82 when I went to Oklahoma. So I remember the thing at Fifth Avenue Baptist, and that's one of the first things I remember. They didn't even talk about it. We tiptoed around it a lot. After it was hardly mentioned in the 71 football guide, and so from then on, there was a little tiny listing. It got a little bigger, and, fortunately, when we had the 30th, I was back in the department because of my back, and I was able to get all the names corrected. I gave the wives their first names. It just had Mrs., Doctor and Mrs.
Right.
And I thought, no, that's not the way that should be.
Yeah.
And we found out there were a couple people that were in there twice, and fortunately no one had been missed, so that was good.
I think with ESPN's interest in it,
yes.
Plus,
that
remember
was huge.
The ceremony got changed. It was a nighttime ceremony.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember Rusty Dorton started loading up the flowers on the 30th, and I said to somebody from ABC, I said, hey, there's a great story right there. She goes, why is that? I said, because that guy works in the grounds department. He does a lot of stuff with athletics. But since 1971, or after all these ceremonies, he loads the flowers up and takes them to the cemetery. She went, you're kidding. I said, I just found out myself. It was kind of like Dave Walsh and the Young Thundering Herd holding on to, they bust up there for every game.
Yeah.
I said, Dave, you never talked about that. He went, well, it was our thing, and we just never talked. And I couldn't believe that somebody had never mentioned that. Well, nobody had ever mentioned flowers, so she got a great exclusive. But we had, oh, my God, I took CBS, took ABC, I took ESPN. And then the 40th had the movie and the hype, and the Ashes to Glory had just won awards. And so it was a very big deal. And I think the 50th will be like that next year. But, I hope and pray that we never reach a point where somebody thinks, well, we've done this enough. Because it's not really – it's about honoring those who died in 70, but it's also about how it could happen again. Any of your teams that drive or fly, have a chance
Well,
to have
everybody.
an accident.
Yeah, I have.
And
I could go outside tomorrow.
yeah,
I could go outside
but,
now.
But the thing is with teams, there's so many people,
Right.
And that's why it strikes us. And plus, they're so young, and that really strikes us. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't have been a big deal if it just been the 5 coaches, say, was on a private plane. That would have been a big deal, but it wouldn't have grasped the community and the university as much as this reached everywhere. There were tentacles everywhere. Children who lost 1 or 2 parents. There were like 57 or something kids that lost parents, and 23 of those lost both. And it was, this guy, the guy shooting the game film was working at a chemical plant in town, and the doctors and the dentist and the Big Green member, and there were just so many people that were this program has always been very closely tied to Huntington. And so that was a big deal, and I don't think we'll ever reach that point. I hope not. I mean, I've taken Trey. He understands it, even though he's not going to Marshall right now. He's been around it his whole life.
But he understands because it's part of the community.
Yes,
it's
and
part of what happens
he
here.
understood that this is what Dad does. Dad gets in planes and flies with the team. And so, it's always in the back of your mind when you land with the team. People still clap when they put wheels on the ground, and we've had a couple of exciting adventures. 86 was the one where only half the lights came on the runway, and but you hope that this will never happen to any team again. We know Oklahoma State suffered, Wichita State has suffered, Cal Bakersfield in the 60s crashed leaving Toledo. We've had some bus wrecks and van wrecks. I'm so glad vans are almost out of the mix now, because that means a professional driver is driving a bus most of the time.
Well, transportation is always wherever you go. But
yeah,
to your point, there are people, and a lot of this is anecdotal, and a lot of this is, I'm just not going to tell you who I'm talking to.
Right.
There are people who believe that, okay, this thing's shaginned, that this thing is gotten to the point where this is a marketing campaign, an indoctrination for the university, or a marketing campaign for athletics. And I'm not throwing this out there to be sensational. These are real conversations I've had with people about this ceremony. There are people who are huge supporters of it, and there are others that say, hey, look, we've just gone too far.
Well, I think the thing is Doc has connected with it better than any coach, and he's not even an alumnus.
No.
Bobby Pruitt got it. Mark Snyder got it. He was from here. But Doc has made a point, and maybe it's because he's not, a Marshall grad, but he is a Hurricane guy. So he and I were the same age when this happened, and we were very much aware of what had happened. And he has made his team understand it. They take the run. They talk about the book. I saw when Grant was talking to one kid this week, he mentioned that he was wearing the same number as so-and-so on the team. Now, that's pretty amazing to me.
I think that was Knox, because I was there for the interview.
Yeah, and that's pretty amazing that he knows that guy on the 70 team was wearing his number. And that's a connection that can't be let go. I mean, that's as long as it's important to the team, it'll never go away. Doc with the black uniform once a year is totally appropriate.
The helmet,
you put the
with
75
the
on the helmet, and their names on the stripe. I mean, he's done everything he can to make this an important. And I don't think the university plays this for money. I've never had anyone ask me for a donation.
No.
At a fountain ceremony. I've never had anybody get up there and tell about how you should be. They stand up and they talk about, isn't it amazing where we've come to since then? And it's kind of a marker. The school started in 1837. In 1861, it went away kind of during the Civil War and could have been away forever until some lady helped pay their taxes out and then gave the land to the university. And then it became the state of West Virginia, in 63. And in 67, it became the normal school, which was a huge deal. A 2-year program for teaching teachers. And so then they brought the lab school on the campus. So, there were moments it became a 4-year graduate school in 1920. Became Marshall University in 1961. That was huge. These are moments, and the 1970 is definitely a moment when the athletic team went from this athletic team that's had some success in basketball, very limited success in football, And people said, no, we're not going to let it go away. We're not going to forget those people, and we're going to build. And it still took another decade.
Oh, yeah, because it's still to this day.
We were saved by 1AA football, which should be another marker in 1983, because that was when the program really went, whoop. Sonny had his 5th year in, went 4-7. Next year, Stan Parrish goes 6-5. And, until Mark had some trouble winning in Conference USA with limited scholarships, it didn't go down. And Doc's had one down year since he really started, and he's got over that. And now he's playing basically for a chance to be a champion this Friday night. So
and you can't win it every year.
There's going to be a lot of emotion. I'm going to be keeping an eye on
Right,
it
you'll be at football,
in
high school.
Charleston.
Yeah.
But I'll also be keeping an eye on Danny at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And on the soccer team.
Yeah.
Because they're playing.
Yeah. We've got soccer, we've got
It's
basketball,
crazy
we got
how
football.
much there is.
And doesn't matter what happens tomorrow win-wise, I kind of remind people, look, because there's so much put into this game, Woody. And
Yes.
I think the kids are saying the right thing, but at the same time, there's so much put on them. Fans expect them to win no matter what.
And it's amazing that Doc hadn't lost this game yet.
No.
Because he can't pick the date and the opponent.
No, he can't pick
He
this.
just gets who he gets.
Here we go.
It's not like homecoming.
But I kind of remind people, hey, you know what the victory is? They're playing football. Here it is. They're playing a football game today. That's the victory.
Right.
That's always the victory.
Well, and, they said that in the movie. That was a point in the movie where McConaughey says the win is we're on the field right now. There will be a day when it's about wins and losses, and that's where we are now. But thank goodness it's about that now, not just trying to keep the program still
Right.
alive. I mean, Wichita State's program went away forever. Xavier, who Marshall beat, lost their program a few years later. We've seen a lot of programs come back into football lately, but, some of those programs have never recovered from things that happened to them. So I guess we probably ought to pause, and then we can talk Spring Valley.
we got a commercial break to take.
Yeah,
We'll take
yeah.
it. We'll come back. You're a little rusty. You haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, quite all right. We got more on the way. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Guests with Paul Swann appear via the Miller Lite phone lines.
I don't know what to say. Woody Woodrum's appearance is sponsored by, but
Well, I hope people don't think this is a best-of show, because we are live here on November 14th, 2019.
yeah, we should do this more often. I can't afford you though. That's the problem.
I came to talk a little bit about Spring Valley. They drew. There were a lot of worries. There was people were talking about possibly a trip to Spring Mills if we lost to Spring Valley, and that would have been a 5.5-hour trip. There were a lot of talk, but basically Huntington has ended up in a bracket where they meet GW, who they lost to 31-30. And if they win that game, they'll play, probably Cabell Midland in the bracket, or Spring Valley. It's either Spring Valley or Cabell Midland. And then they'll play the other if they continue winning. They're in a bracket where they would, their second round game would be probably GW, and the third round probably Spring Valley. Wheeling Park might be good. They're talking about in the Charleston paper today, Capitals having to hit the road, which they don't usually, and Wheeling Park, they've got to match their speed. Can't imagine them being a lot faster than Capital, but so it's a revenge trip for Huntington, and they're excited about it. Tay Blackwell has thrown for over 1,200 yards, and he's rushed for another 200. He's been responsible for 19 touchdowns so far, and he's done pretty well. Brockton Blair is the guy. I hope Marshall was really looking at this kid. 6'2", 225, good speed. He's going to go over 1,000 yards with only 18 more against GW, and he's at 103 tackles, which leads the team, 13 tackles for loss, which leads the team, 5 quarterback pressures is second on the team, 4 fumble recoveries leads the team. He's got 2 interceptions, which is tied for second, and he's blocked a punt. Other than that, he hadn't done anything this year.
So what you're saying is...
he's a double 1,100. There's not a lot of those guys in the state. 100 tackles, 1,000 yards rushing.
So Marshall maybe should give him a look.
I hope they are, because he would fit their system very well to Mike, or even if you redshirt him first year,
you might get him up around 240 and play defensive end. So looking for a big performance out of him. The guy you got to stop, Robert Alexander's son, R.T. Alexander, has thrown for 2,000 yards for GW.
97-9 the River tomorrow. Right here will be Marshall basketball.
That's right.
And
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Wow.
Football will be on 93.7 The Dog. That's where I'm going to be.
Yeah, you're going to do a little football tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be over on stage.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm going to hopefully it's not going to be cold.
Well, we'll be keeping an eye on things on the computer.
Yeah, we'll be all back here. We'll regather next week and figure out what the heck's going on then. You should just come in now. Just wander in. Just randomly come in. We should do this more often.
Yep.
I'm still trying to get Woody to do a podcast with me. Gabriel, you want to produce that? There's no money involved. Oh, he's still thumbing up.
He's still thumbs up.
All right, for Gabriel Sellers, for Woody Woodrum, I'm Paul Swann. Thanks for tuning in.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.